Next case, 40160, Daniel and Jody Bovey.
Are you Daniel?
I am.
And you are Jody?
Yes.
And your last name is Bovey?
Correct.
You're the owners of property located at, let me see, 143 Conde Street in West Chicago?
That is correct.
And how do you plead to count one, I can't read this thing, failure to obtain a building permit?
Not guilty.
You ready?
Judge, city is ready. I don't know if you want to pass it to the end or...
No, we'll just do it. Please raise your right hand, whoever's going to testify. Are you going to testify?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, well, in the event that you might as well keep it up. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
We do.
Okay. All right, Mr.
Thank you.
Kurtovic.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, if you can state your name for the record, please.
George, last name is Georgis, Georgis.
And how are you so employed with the city of West Chicago?
Building inspector, code enforcement supervisor.
And I want to direct your attention to a property located within the city at 143 Conde Street.
Right away. Go ahead.
At 143 Conde Street.
Yes.
And how are you familiar with that property?
Basically, I got a complaint about that property on November 23rd, and I went on site to investigate the issue.
And what day did you go on site to investigate the issue?
November 23rd, 2022.
And when you arrived at that location, what, if anything, did you observe?
Basically, I saw a lot of soil, dirt that was on the premises, that was put on the premises, and basically a lot of grading that was done without a permit.
And so are you familiar with that property prior to November 30th? Or excuse me, November 23rd?
Yes, I am.
And did that property have any of that additional soil?
No, it did not.
On that date, did you have an opportunity to make contact with the owner of the property?
At the time, I got pictures of the property, and I posted a notice of violation to please remove all soil, dirt piles from premises, no storage of equipment on premises, and can change grading on premises, must restore. The notice of violation was posted, and within 30 minutes of that posting, myself, the city planner, and the building official had a 45-minute conversation with the resident about this situation.
And in that conversation, was the individual you spoke with a Daniel Bovey?
Yes, it was.
And was he advised that a permit would need to be obtained for the work?
Yes, he was.
Was he given any time to comply prior to any citations?
He was given 7 days to comply.
In those 7 days, were any permit applications submitted to the city of West Chicago?
No, and there's still no permit applications being submitted.
Now, based on the failure to submit that application within the 7 days, what, if anything, did you do?
On day 8, I went there and take a look at what's going on, and he still hasn't applied for a permit, and the conditions still exist.
And were citations ultimately, or excuse me, was a citation for failure to obtain a permit issued?
Yes, that was the citation for failure to obtain a building permit.
And notice and copies of the citation were sent to Mr. Bovey?
Correct.
Now, have you had the opportunity to observe the property since the November 30th date?
Yes.
And have you had an opportunity to take photos of the property?
Yes.
Can you describe the state of the property since the citations were issued?
For some reason, there's still work being done on the premises. Heavy equipment being moving the dirt around, even though he still has not applied for a permit, so he's still doing work without a permit as of yesterday, and so.
And sir, can you describe, or strike that, is Mr. Bovey the owner of two adjoining property or adjoining parcels?
That is correct.
And can you describe those two parcels?
One of them is a home with a single-family home on it, and Adjacent to it is a vacant lot, and this is the issue that the citation is for. It's the vacant lot that sits right next to the home with the parcel, with the single-family home on it.
So the 143 Condi Street parcel, that is a separate parcel, correct?
Yes, and they both have the same address, but different PIN numbers.
And are you familiar with the square footage of the property or the parcel at 143 Condi Street?
It's about 12,000 square feet.
That's in excess, obviously, of 5,000?
Yes, it is.
And sir, you said that you had an opportunity to take photos of the property?
Yes.
When was the first opportunity that you had to take photos of the property?
The date that the notice of violation was written. Okay.
And this would have been from November 3rd?
November 23rd, the original date of the notice of violation.
Your Honor, for the record, showing Mr. Bovey what's marked as exhibit number 1.
Take a look at those pictures and then let me know if you have any objection to the introduction of those pictures. Hand them back to the police officer or the sergeant when you're done.
No objections.
Now, sir, I'm showing you what's being marked as City's Exhibit Number 1 for identification. Do you recognize these photos?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize these photos to be?
Basically, I see a lot of soil, a lot of grading work done on premises.
And do these photos truly and accurately reflect
Yes, they
the
do.
state of the property on November 23rd?
Yes, they do.
For the record, retrieving the exhibits from the witness, Your Honor, City would seek to admit Group Exhibit Number 1 into evidence.
They'll be in there.
Now, sir, did you have an opportunity again to take photos on November 28th?
November 28th, per Mr. Bovey's request, he met with the building official as well as our civil engineer, and those are more detailed close-up pictures of the situation as of Monday, November 28th, which was the next business day that we met with him to further discuss the issue.
Your Honor, for the record, showing what's being marked as City's Exhibit, or Group Exhibit Number 2.
Thank you. No objections.
Okay, they'll be in there.
Sir, I'm showing you what's marked as City's Group Exhibit Number 2. Do you recognize these photos?
Yes, actually, these photos were taken by our building official who met him on site for his request.
Now, sir, did you have an opportunity to observe the property at any other point?
Actually, I took some more pictures on the date the notice of appear was written, as well as on Monday, as well as today. And so, and basically December 15, Monday, and
These photos, you said were taken Monday. That would have been
2 days ago,
January 16th of 2023?
16th, as well as today.
And can you describe the continued work that's been done on the property since you originally inspected the property?
It looks like there's some more of the dirt soil that's being moved around on the lot, and even though he still hasn't applied for a permit.
And are showing Mr. Bovey what's marked as City's Exhibit Number 3.
You'll see a piece of machinery over there. You see tracks within the grounds.
These are what date? The 16th? Okay. No objection.
And again, those photos that were taken truly and accurately reflect the property on that as of, on Monday.
Yes, they do.
And I would seek to admit City's Exhibit Number 3 to evidence.
Okay, you forgot to do 2.
Judge, I have,
Are you still using it?
yeah. Judge, we would seek to admit Exhibit Number 2 in evidence as well.
Okay. All 3 exhibits will be...
All 3, Judge. Finally, sir, you had an opportunity to take photos today prior to the hearings?
Correct.
And then, Judge, finally, showing Mr. Bovey what's being marked as City's Group Exhibit Number 4.
No objection.
And sir, these photos that were taken today, they truly and accurately reflect the state of the property prior
Yes,
to
they do.
today's hearing. And we would seek to admit City's Exhibit Number 4 into evidence.
That'll be allowed.
And again, sir, has, as of today, has any permit application been submitted to the city?
No, there hasn't.
And finally, Judge, showing Mr. Bovey what's marked as City's Exhibit Number, Group Exhibit Number 5.
Is there a date on this one?
This is a Google Street View from 2019, June of 2019, depicting how the property looked at that point.
No objections.
And again, sir, can you describe what the property looked like from the photos on 2019?
From the street view from Google Earth, it looks like a perfectly flat piece of land with pretty much almost all of it being 100% green space.
And that's in direct opposite of what the grading or level is currently?
Correct.
And Judge, I seek to admit filing City's Exhibit Number 5 into evidence.
That'll be allowed.
And sir, did all of these events occur in the city of West Chicago?
Correct.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Anybody else?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions for the inspector?
2.
Okay.
You stated that that there was no permit on file. Do you show any permit on file right now with the city?
Not for this parcel.
Do you show any permit on file for the 2 lots which have been described?
There's a permit. There's a permit that's open for the last 2 years for the adjacent property, but there is no permit for this part PIN number.
Okay, my second question, you also stated that previous to this date, I guess that would be 11/23, it was at the beginning of what you said, that you had observed the property and that there had not been a pile of dirt?
Basically, this amount of dirt has come to my attention for the first time on November 23rd.
When did you observe the property prior to 11/23?
I wasn't on the site. I probably would. The last time I was on the site, on the premises, was for, again, the adjacent lot, and that was probably on 2 years ago, July 22nd of 21, but I didn't really do an investigation of that vacant lot. It was more for the permit that has nothing to do with this PIN number.
July of 2021?
Correct.
But you did state, if I'm not mistaken, that there was no dirt there previous to November 23, is that correct?
I did not notice any grading being done on that property, but I didn't
I
investigate.
heard you say
Right.
that there was no dirt there prior to the November 23. Is that,
Judge, I'm going to object. I believe that misstates the testimony.
that was what I heard.
Sustained. Ask him a different question if you want, otherwise.
Okay.
Let me know. when you're done.
So, Are you making an attestation that there was no dirt there in that location prior to November 23rd?
Judge, I'm going to object to ask the answer.
Okay. Next question. Anything else?
Yes, I'm a novice here. Can you explain what did I do wrong there?
Well, he's already answered the question about whether the dirt was there or not, so.
What was his answer?
So what the prosecutors objected to is that you asked the question, he gave you an answer, and now you're asking the same question again. That's not allowed.
Okay, am I allowed to confirm that he was saying that?
No, then you're talking about the same answer that you already received.
Okay, can I have it read back, or is there any way to?
No.
No? Okay.
No, we're not that specific.
Not that, okay.
We don't have a court reporter here.
Okay. Well, is this kind of my chance to lay out?
Yeah, if you're done asking
Asking
questions.
questions,
Do you have any
Nothing based on that.
Okay, now it's your turn, Mr. Bovey.
Okay. We've been painted as if we are some sort of scofflaws that are trying to do something below the radar of the city. And I would like to document that that is not the case,
Okay.
that we have a permit for the construction project, which is in question, that all proper processes have been followed as pertains to inspections, and that we were put into an impossible situation by conflicting directives given to us by the city. As far as the permit, we received a permit to build a 520 square foot geodesic dome greenhouse behind our house, which is, has been stated, 143 County Street. The permit was approved on 12/28 of 2020. And I'd like to submit this. It's an email documenting that that permit was approved. I would also like to submit.
Judge, I don't have an objection. Just mark it as,
What is it?
Judge, it's an email for the record from Dan and Jody Bovey to Lori Jensen of the West Chicago, City of West Chicago. We can mark this.
It also, I believe, contains an email from Lori Jensen to us.
Or excuse me, it's an email from Lori Jensen to Dan and Jody Bovey.
Okay.
Just we can mark this as
And it establishes the date that the permit was approved,
Respondents one.
respondents one, Judge.
and that that date was 12/28 of 2020. The permit lapsed in 2021 and then was renewed on July 20th of 2022. And I would like to submit this permit, and I would like to note that there is no PIN number, just an address. And the differentiation that is being made, that our permit does not apply to our second lot, is difficult for us to understand because that was never brought up. And the permit does not, in fact, identify any PIN. It just identifies the address.
Judge, I don't have an objection.
Okay.
The permit application included drawings which indicated a 42-inch excavation of a circular 700 square foot area in order to lay the foundation. If you do the math, that would yield 91 cubic yards of material. Obviously, an approximation. The excavated dirt was piled in the rear portion of the yard, primarily in the location shown in a drawing, which I have here. Excuse me, I'm a little jittery. Never defended myself in court before. Yes. That excavation took place prior to January 8th of 2021. I have here a photograph from January 8th, 2021 that shows the dirt mound in question.
Does this show where the actual excavation and the construction is going to be? Because I'm not certain.
That does not. That is intended to show the area of the property where the dirt was deposited from the excavation.
Okay, and is that this area here?
That is.
I have no idea, but looking at that, what?
I would be happy to mark a approximate location of the construction project if that's
Okay.
helpful. The dirt, yeah, I'm going to just mark dirt pile. The circle, rough attempt at a circle, indicates the greenhouse that is under construction.
Okay.
There's no place for us to move dirt other than to bring it across the lot line to the other side of our property. In our yard, there's a fence that goes around both properties, and both properties, both pins are considered our yard. That's where our kids play. So the footing was poured on January 22nd. There was a footing inspection by John Schulte, city official.
January 22nd of what year? 22?
Sorry, of 2021.
21.
And again, apologies to be confusing, but 1/14 of 2021 was the footing inspection by John Schulte. And then the footing was poured on January 22nd of 2021. The foundation and backfill inspections were done by John Schulte on April 15th of 2021. As has been established by the photo, the dirt pile was substantially in its current position all throughout these inspections. I do have more pictures throughout the time, but I won't bring them out unless it's helpful. There was a plumbing inspection by Dmitry Dvorkin, June of 2021. There was an installation inspection by John Schulte in summer of 2021. On or around the summer of 2021, John Schulte came to our property and spoke to us in our driveway, approximately 20 yards from the dirt pile, which was in plain view. He had received a complaint about a pile of sticks in our yard. He informed us that a neighbor east of us had called to make diverse complaints about our property and had been doing so 3 to 4 times per week. He looked around and said that he didn't see any problem. He told us the neighbor had complained about a skating area which we had built for the kids in the winter. He said there's nothing wrong with that. He also mentioned she complained a lot about our businesses. He said you're not doing anything wrong. He looked at the property, looked at the pile of dirt, and told us that we were not doing anything wrong. Because of an escalating difficulty with our neighbor, a desire arose for more privacy in our yard. There were instances where she reported watching our children, we're here, and accused them of unlawful activity, which was unfounded. At about that time, fall of 2021, we were beginning the process of finalizing the landscaping from our berm project. We looked at the city code and, based on our reading, believed that we could finish the pile of dirt in place and beautify it with landscaping At that point, we brought in one trailer load of dirt and covered the berm with 2.5 inches of black topsoil and smoothed it. Our consideration was to put plants on the berm, so we purchased some, and the picture you see shows those plants sitting there being considered. On November 24th, as has been stated, we received the notice of violation, which, as has been said, told us that we could, it said, quote, all dirt piles and equipment had to be removed from the premises, must restore. Over the following week, from November 24th through December 1st, we had multiple conversations with the city, and we were told on 3 separate occasions that we were not to touch the piles, not to remove anything, not to add anything until we had drawings made. We were told this by Mr. Carvello on November 23rd and November 28th, and by Steve Pertzborn on December 1st. We were on all 3 occasions directed to obtain drawings for any proposed berm. On at least 2 separate occasions, I stated our willingness to ultimately remove or lower the berm if that was what the code required. On November 30th, we were informed that we informed the city that we had engaged Steinbrecher Land Associates to make the required drawings. Later that same day, we received the notice to appear, which then introduced the idea of work without a permit. That was very difficult for us to understand because all of this had been created by the project, which had been permitted and was not a finished product, but was a construction site with construction materials located on it. After the conversation with the city, we decided to take the roughly 12 yards of dirt, the 2.5 inches of dirt that we had brought in, and move it to a separate location so that it could be clearly seen that what is on the property today, in the picture that you've shown, is all material from the construction. We do require topsoil to finish the project. We believed in good conscience that a permit to do this construction permitted us to have construction materials on site, and at any point in this process, the city could have asked us or told us that we were not properly storing construction materials on site. But they didn't do that in any of this process. And so then they told us not to touch it on 3 separate occasions. So we were put in a position where we could not do anything to it, but then we were given a notice to appear because we had not done anything to it. Mr. Gutman, the city administrator, acknowledged in an email to us that the staff contradicted each other, and we attest, that they put us in an impossible situation where anything we did would be to contradict their directives.
Done? That's it?
Yes.
Do you have any?
No, Your Honor, just arguing.
Okay. Well, here it is. Let's hear yours.
Just if I can just have one more.
Keep talking about permits. The permit that was issued was for does not have anything to do with this permit. So very clearly,
Judge, I actually do have rebuttal evidence.
Okay.
Sir, again, you previously testified under oath, correct?
Correct.
I want to show you what's marked as City's Exhibit number 6, showing Mr. Bovey.
Thank you. What is this showing?
Sir, you've had an opportunity to see City's Exhibit number 6 previously, correct?
Basically, yes. Yes, I did.
And what does that City's Exhibit number 6
Basically,
depict?
that exhibit is the parcel that the permit was assigned to, 017. And the next exhibit will be the actual permit that was issued, and that specifies that all work is for parcel pin number 017.
And
I have a copy of the permit. The permit has nothing to do with doing grading in the adjoining lot.
And sir, what is the PIN number or the last 3 digits of the PIN number for the property at issue for the failure to obtain permit?
015.
And the permit where the residence is at, in which the permit was submitted, was for PIN ending in 017, correct?
That is correct.
Just showing Mr. Bovey what's marked as City's Exhibit number 7. And Judge, for the record, I would ask to admit City's Exhibit number 6.
It'll be admitted.
This is the property at issue.
Yeah. This is the location of the permit.
Is this my chance to respond, or should I just approve?
Just take a look at it and then hand it to the sergeant, and then when he's done, it'll be your turn.
Oh, there's emails too. This is the exchange prior to the permit issuance. Thank you.
And sure, I'm showing what's marked as City's Exhibit number 7. Can you, for the record, identify what that actually is?
Basically, that's the the approved application for the building permit that the resident was given.
And that permit, for what PIN number is that given for?
That's for pin number 017.
The record retrieving City's Exhibit number 7. Your Honor, showing, I ask that City's Exhibit number 7 be admitted into evidence. Just showing Mr. Bovey what's marked as City's Exhibit number 8. Sir, showing you what's marked as City's Exhibit number 8. Do you recognize City's Exhibit number 8?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize City's Exhibit number 8 to be?
That's a copy of the survey that was submitted to the city at the time of the application for the permit, and basically identifying the permit, the PIN number for the work, and the location of the greenhouse.
And that greenhouse, or strike that, in that diagram, are there 2 separate lots on that diagram?
Yes, there is.
And can you describe what the lot numbers are?
Like we said, one is lot 8, one is lot 9, with the PIN numbers 015 and 017. And to add that nothing in the greenhouse permit that was for lot number 8 had mentioned to do absolutely any work or grading of lot 9.
And where that greenhouse was to be built, that was in lot 8?
Correct.
And again, no work was to be done on lot 9 or with the PIN number ending in 015,
That is correct.
For the record, retrieving City's Exhibit number 8, I'd ask that that be moved into evidence, and I have no further questions of the witness.
Your turn, Mr. Bovey. You can ask him questions based on only what he was just asked, okay?
Can I comment or just ask questions?
You can just ask him first if you have any questions, and if you don't, then
Okay.
I'll let you speak, and then the city will have the last word.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. All right, you can tell me your side of your summation.
I've lived in West Chicago. We've lived in West Chicago for 22 years. I've been pastor of New Life Bilingual Church in West Chicago for 24 years. And so I've had quite a few interactions with building officials over the past. One official, John Fincham, explained to me the concept of a zoning lot. And for all practical purposes, he said that contiguous lots owned by the same person were considered to be a zoning lot. And so, for instance, in all the work that we've done in West Chicago at the church, which is on Ann Street, which sits on 14 different lots, we've never been asked to put down every pin for work that has been done. The city vacated a street that ran between our lots, a project which...
Judge, at this point, I'm going to object to relevance and foundation in regards to the...
Can I say how it's
Try
relevant?
to just focus on your property.
It was relevant because it was a project that involved all 12 lots. It was not a project that was done on one lot.
Judge, again, I renew my objection.
And the
to
city-
relevance to this property.
All right.
The only thing at issue is 143 Condon Street.
I understand. It's a statement. I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Just go on.
So at 143 Condi Street, had the same concept explained to me, that we had a zoning lot that was considered for the purposes of permits 1. And there were numerous things that were extrapolated from that principle of a zoning lot, for instance, the setbacks. And so for the city to turn around and say that they did not expect for work to be done on the second lot is I think is not fair. The circle that is drawn on the document that they shows the location of the dome, nothing else. There is no landscaping plan that was requested. And so I've been told in these conversations that we should have provided a landscaping plan at the beginning. If that's the case, then that should have been asked for. But the permit was approved with the drawings that were given that did not include any landscaping plan. And what we're talking about in this conversation is not anything permanent, but it is materials that are created from the construction project. We've always maintained that we will comply with the city code when it comes to the landscaping. And that's something that we hope to figure out soon, but it's not been figured out. But be told that we're operating without a permit, we don't understand it.
Did it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, the only issue here is whether or not the Boveys have obtained a permit to do work on the 143 Condi Street with the PIN ending in 015. Clearly, the village ordinance states that any erection, construction, alteration, or repair without first having applied for and obtained a permit is in violation of the code. While there may have been a permit application submitted for what I believe is marked as Lot 9 with PIN ending in 017, you can explicitly see that in both the diagram as well as the permit for which the Bovey submitted. There's no mention of that adjacent property. You can see on the diagram all of the work is done on the PIN ending in 017. Mr. Bovey's own words was that the materials or the soil that was on the property, there wasn't enough room, and quote, it needed to be moved across the lot line. Clearly, he was aware that that there are two separate lots, two separate, essentially property locations per the diagram that's shown. And in addition, Judge, the city is responding to a complaint. What they viewed in July of 21 or throughout 2021 is irrelevant. They were called based on a citizen complaint living in the neighborhood, and they responded. November 23rd of 2022, they made contact, had a conversation with Mr. Bovey. Mr. Bovey himself admits that there was multiple conversations and emails with various people from the city saying that they're not to complete any more work or continue doing any work until they submit an application for a permit. They were on notice. The city gave them 7 days. They did not get a permit. That's when the city ultimately issues the citation. You're able to see the photos that were submitted into evidence by the city, the amount of soil that is on the property, and you can also see kind of a timeline of continued work despite the fact that the city said that work or anything with the soil did not or was ordered not to be touched and no work to be continued, but they continue to do so despite being put on notice. Just for all of those reasons, it's clear that they failed to obtain a permit for that adjacent parcel ending in the PIN 015. It's separate from the permit, and they should have applied for a new permit.
Okay. This comes down to,
Can you respond to that?
no, it's time. Now it's my turn.
Okay.
So this comes down to something that actually probably could have been resolved in less than 15 minutes, because when you look at the application and the fact that the permit that you have was approved based on this application, it specifically identifies the PIN. Now, it doesn't identify two pins, it just identifies one pin, which is the 017, which is where you're building the greenhouse, correct?
Correct.
Okay. When the problem comes in, when you transferred the soil and whatever else you did from one lot to the next, you don't have a permit for that particular work that was done on the other lot, on the other pin in this case, the 015. So they issued you a citation for doing work without a permit, which is the normal course of action. And then they say, don't do anything until you apply for the permit. You did not apply for a permit, not for 015 anyway. And the fact that you have a permit to build the greenhouse, that's in and of itself. It doesn't excuse the fact that work was done on a separate lot with a separate PIN number, that there was no permit. I understand where you say, well, I have a permit, and your permit doesn't say anything. It just has a permit and it has your address. But unfortunately, what they do is they go when they have a situation where there's a complaint about work being done, because that's usually how they find out things, unless they happen to be driving by like somebody used to be here, and they saw that there was this dirt, that pretty sizable mound of dirt that was placed on the property on the other lot with the 015 PIN number. That's what started this whole ball rolling. And as much as it doesn't seem fair, it is by the letter of the law, there is a violation. So there should have been a permit applied for that, okay? So at this point, my job is to find out whether you're liable or not liable. Well, obviously, based on what I'm telling you, you're liable. But the next question comes in, what exactly do you need to do, which is apply for a permit for 015, and what you would do with this soil and things that have been moved from one lot to another. It doesn't matter that the address is the same, it matters what the permit was issued for. Now, had the permit been issued without any PIN numbers at all and just had your address, and it had multiple lots with multiple PIN numbers, different story. But that's not what happened. I mean, that's why I'm saying it's simple, because all I have to do is look at this. This is the document that tells me what they planned and what you agreed to when they issued the building permit. and that is that there was a greenhouse that was approved on one lot, and work was done on a separate lot that was not permitted. Do you understand?
Can I say something?
You could say something. Normally I don't, but
What he told you is not true. That we were told to apply for a permit and that we could have done that. We were not told between November 23rd and December 1st, apply for a permit. We were told submit drawings initially from a mechanical or structural engineer, and then it was modified to submit drawings from a land surveyor, who we engaged to do that in the most expedient way that we could. And we were given no opportunity to comply. And Mr. Gutman told us, you keep painting us that we kept doing work after we were not allowed to. Mr. Gutman and Mr. Dotreiner here told us that we were allowed to continue to work.
on the greenhouse.
No, on the pile, on the dirt pile.
Well,
specifically.
I don't know. Here's the thing. The evidence shows that there is a permit for one lot to build a greenhouse, but there's no permit where there is grading and soil being moved. And that's why we're here. I mean, that's the reason we're here. Now, normally, I'm sure they're going to ask for $750 a day from the day that it was discovered until today. That's not something I'm even going to consider, based on the fact that I can understand partly your defense, but the facts are the facts. The facts say there was a permit that was issued for a greenhouse on one lot, and here's another lot that's being affected by construction of materials, basically the soil and then the additional soil. What are you looking for, City?
Judge City's looking for $500 plus in order for Mr. Bovey to obtain a permit within 30 days and restore the disturbed area within 30 days.
Permit for what specifically?
A permit for that property, for that lot, that PIN number. What we've talked about for the last hour.
Well, for the existing dirt that is there, or for, because what if we don't want to leave it there? Because that's, what are we applying for? A temporary materials storage area?
Just speak with the city, they'll let you know everything you guys need to do.
That has not worked out well.
Just speak with the city.
Okay.
Who should they talk to?
You talk to me.
You. Talk to him. Okay, so here's where we're at. I'm finding you liable. Your fine's going to be $250, but you have to obtain a permit for lot 015 to be able to continue any kind of work that you're doing on that lot. Okay. I lowered the fine because normally when somebody operates without a permit, I don't care what it is, it's a $750 a day fine, and it just keeps on accruing until there's actually something that corrects the problem. In this case, I don't see it, so, okay? But talk to him. I know he's scary, but you just talk to him, and however they want you to do it, whether it's apply to remove it, or whether it's apply to put it in, whatever it is, they'll give you a specific permit for that lot, because that's the problem. The lot was, the PIN number was identified and not your entire property.
Is this an addendum to?
Okay.
Is this an addendum to, or is this a new permit?
What would it be, a new one, right?
It's a brand new permit.
Because it's a different, whole nother thing.
The work scope was never defined in the original permit.
Yeah, see, that's the, okay. Well, you talk to him,
Yep.
all right? And there's a copy of the order. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.